Welcome into a Pumpkin Wednesday Hump Day podcast. Thomas Miller and Kristin Lawhead with you, and we have some big movement and changes and structural alterings in the chart. So let's jump right into it here. And Kristin, I have to do something. You did a great job yesterday, but there is something that I'm going to do right off the bat as we begin here. This one, I'm removing. Is that okay? Can I just take it
No,
off?
I'm trying to stay in its best graces before we start this retrograde. So I'm going to have
There.
to protest.
We'll just keep that for a minute. This is fun astrology, so come on, lighten up. We're just saying it only moved into its shadow. It's not full on retrograde, but I remember just not so long ago that it moved into its shadow, and it was like, holy cow, it's like everything. And I think it's already kind of starting, because even getting this thing started had its challenges. So we're just going to leave it touche, trickster.
Yeah, I mean, a retrograde in Mars's sign. So I would suspect that if anything, you might feel it a little bit more within this next week, even though it is not fully retrograde yet.
All right, here, I'm going to have to, let's get ready, because we do need to talk about this, because this is a big part. You talked about this yesterday, but this is a big part of what's going on. And as you mentioned, Mars, of course, is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio. Keep that in mind. So now what we've really done, I think, is we've moved two things together. Now, if you're catching this in the morning, this one right here, the sun has not happened yet. The sun moves into Scorpio almost just before midnight tonight, but Neptune moves into Pisces, joining Saturn already there. So what we have is this big dynamic now between the connection of two water signs, Scorpio with the sun in it now, and Pisces with Saturn and Neptune in it. And it is, I mean, the two are connected by a trine structurally in the chart. So I think in light of the Great Pyramid and everything else that's been going on, that it's time for us to at least observe all of this together and not segregate or separate it. We've got a lot of water, we've got a lot of Scorpio and powerful Pisces.
Yeah, definitely. It is a full-on water grand trine right now with Jupiter in Cancer. And so the emotions are flowing, but the intuition is flowing as well. And so what part of that are you doing to navigate all of the emotional and, needing to check in with yourself this week? We also have Jupiter square Chiron that is perfecting tomorrow, and I have a podcast on that, but it is very prominent for this day still.
And you look past this, I'm going to clean this up in a minute. That just what I'm doing on the video is drawing in that Jupiter Chiron. For those of you who are listening on your car radio on your way to work, thank you for doing that. Here is a triangle. So I'm drawing one pyramid that has Uranus at the top with Saturn and Neptune on one side, Jupiter on the other. And then, of course, we have the Great Pyramid that is etched into our minds and everything else, the one that we've been talking about all the time, with Pluto and Uranus on the sides and Saturn and Neptune on the top. And then that kite pattern, that grand trine that she was talking about, has Mercury and Mars at the base of it with Uranus up at the top. So there are just a lot of dynamic energies going on right now.
Definitely. The formations of the Great Pyramid are at play with the kite and everything that is aspecting each other right now. There are a lot of exact aspects that are within November and the end of October.
So, Kristin, here's something maybe to think about. And I'm going to tie a couple of things together here. But we have this powerful trine. We have positive. All those connections that I just drew are mostly positive. And yes, we have the squares and the oppositions and all the other. And we even have the yod. Here's the yod that's with us all week, showing it to the folks on video. But here's the thing. I mean, that thing that I put out over the weekend about the Essenes, chapter 1 from the astrology book, what that's saying, if that didn't resonate for some reason, what that's saying is that the band of the Essenes, which kind of were, I remember, I think that they attribute them to Masada and that tower structure that was defended from the Romans and all of that, kind of out by the Dead Sea in geographically, that they were this band of Hebrews who, as Ray Merriman was saying, might have been the teacher of Jesus. And the thought is that they kind of were like we are, that we have God within and we can connect with that and we can develop source, and that astrology is a path back to source. And he beautifully described that they came for the shift of that epic period into the Pisces era that we are now leaving. And that once again, having made an eternal commitment, here we are again now to help usher in this next generation, this next era. And I think that if you go back and listen to that again with that in context, that what Ray was saying so beautifully is that you and I, and those of you listening and watching and part of this, who are on this spiritual path of trying to get back to source in a different kind of way, that we are here to help usher in this change. And I think if you look at this chart, especially right now, we have this little window where Saturn and Neptune are going to be in Pisces just for a few more weeks, really, not that much longer. That when you look at this and you look at all of the positive changes that are reflected in here, that keep that big picture in mind, that through the challenges, there are really good things going on right now.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, Neptune back in Pisces and sextile Uranus in Gemini, that is the base of the yod. And pointing to the sun in that yod, it's such a powerful position for the sun to be in for this ingress. And what's to come of it? I mean, we're talking about Uranus and Neptune, spirituality, and maybe even astrology through it.
Yeah, I think astrology is going to have a big role as this progresses. So as you look at all of that, look at the positive sides of this, and there might be a bigger role for all of us that we have signed up for and we are participating in. And I know it gets daily and it gets wonky. And now we've got Mercury that's getting ready to go retrograde. So we have to get through the wonk in order to keep the bigger picture in mind. And that's why we go by the high timeline living theory, because through all of it, we're trying to beat to a higher drum than what's going on in the dailiness of the unfolding of the events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. High time living is such a way of moving throughout your day that you could really raise your vibrations and just be conscious in your decision making.
There's a lot in there to support us. Thanks so much for your time this Wednesday, Kristin.
Much love. Talk soon.